I'd like to welcome in now Neama Rahmani, a former federal prosecutor and president of Los Angeles West Coast Lawyers. Neama, thank you so much for your time today. First of all, were you surprised that Erik's parole was denied?
Nicole, I was surprised. Erik and Lyle Menendez, really both of them, had a lot of momentum going into this parole board hearing. I've never seen a case where every single living family member of a murder victim supported release. It really just doesn't happen. Obviously, the Netflix series Monsters really raised awareness and public support. Governor Gavin Newsom ordered a risk assessment before the brothers were even deemed parole board eligible, fast tracking that process. And of course, a judge overruled the district attorney's objection and resentenced the brothers to the possibility of parole. And speaking of parole, they were parole board eligible now after 25 years. So they've served an additional 10 or 11 years. So I thought, given that momentum, this would just be a minor speed bump. But apparently, the commissioners yesterday disagreed.
Yeah, so most of the brothers' family members who are also related to the victims do support their release. What do you think happens with Lyle? I mean, he's in front of the parole board right now. Do you think he has a better chance?
I think he has a slightly better chance, and really primarily because he has two different commissioners. And you're right, Nicole, 18 different family members testified in support of release yesterday via video conference or Zoom. So Lyle's when it comes to his prison violations, slightly less different. He does have those cell phone violations as recently as last year. That's a problem. He has some contraband items, a lighter, some Adidas shoes, and there's at least one incident allegedly of not following orders. I think the challenge with respect to Lyle, though, Nicole, is he's the one that shot Kitty Menendez, reloaded, and shot her again. I think that's the most problematic part of this case. Even if you believe the brothers were sexually abused, and I do, that argument is much more difficult with respect to their mother, Kitty, even if she was complicit or groomed them. It's challenging. I think that's the tough questioning he's going to face today.
So I like to listen, Neama, to what the DA told Elizabeth Vargas.
Governor Newsom himself has said that the most critical factor that can outweigh all other factors is whether or not the Menendezes have shown full insight, complete acceptance of responsibility for the murders they did and all the lies they told about it. They have not done that yet. If they ever do it, they might be ready for parole, but they have not done it yet, and therefore we have argued are not ready for parole at this hearing.
All right, Neama. So let's say the parole board says yes to Lyle. We know Governor Newsom ultimately has the final say. He did say he intentionally did not watch that Netflix documentary or the docuseries about the brothers. We also know the governor has presidential aspirations. How do you think all of that could factor in?
Nicole, you're absolutely right. It's not just the law here. There's this whole political layer on top of it. And of course, the former district attorney in LA County initiated this process, George Gascon, and then Nathan Hochman, who I respect, I used to work with, tried to pull it back unsuccessfully. But you're right. It's no secret that Gavin Newsom is eyeing the Oval Office in 2028. And I don't think he's going to stick his neck out on behalf of the Menendez brothers and either pardon them or commute their sentence. I think that's going to open him to being attacked for being soft on crime. This case is very polarizing. There are people who think that they're victims of abuse. Erik and Lyle Menendez have served their time, and the fair and just thing is for them to be released. Others who think they're cold-blooded killers who murdered their parents for financial gain, and they should have gotten the death penalty. So that political layer, which makes California unique, certain states like Texas, for instance, the parole board has the final say, leads me to believe that regardless of what happens with Lyle, I don't think Governor Newsom is going to go ahead and parole Erik Menendez, but maybe I'm wrong. We'll see.
All right, so Erik will be eligible for parole again in 3 years. The board has said the primary reason for his denial this time was his, quote, behavior in prison. What does Erik need to do over the next 3 years to try to increase his chances of getting a yes from the parole board? And do you think these brothers will ever leave prison alive?
I do, because again, I think they have been rehabilitated. We saw a judge say that they were model inmates. Now, for the next 3 years, which is actually the minimum period under California law, where they can come back before the parole board. It's between 3 and 15 years. So the fact that they're able to come back in a few years is good. But obviously, Erik Menendez has a lot of work to do in terms of those prison violations.